Hey everybody, it is Tuesday again, which means I am doing my Tuesday at 2 quarantine cooking class. Glad you can join me. Today we are going to be making Asian slaw. Looking forward to it. A lot of people have asked me, how I come up with the recipes that I've been doing. And one of the things that I noticed when I was in quarantine was that I started looking towards the same foods each time, every day, or every other day, and was thinking, I have a whole bunch of recipes here that I haven't tried. I'm gonna try them and see. A lot of the recipes that I'm doing are with ingredients that you can find in your kitchen. So I'm trying to keep them simple, keep them with common ingredients, in the hopes that you'll be able to make them easily so that you don't have to run out and run out and shop to get the ingredients that you need. So with that in mind, just a little introduction about myself. My name is Evey Schweig. I have my own health and nutrition business. I am a certified health coach, and I work with individuals, I work with groups, I work online. I give presentations like this and cooking workshops that I love doing. And my clients, end up with having more energy-filled and pain-free lives through better nutrition and better lifestyle habits. So one of the things, as I mentioned, that I love to do is doing workshops, cooking workshops. So let's get started with today's recipe, which, as I mentioned, is Asian slaw. It's a recipe that I've had around for a while. I've kind of played around with the ingredients a little bit because I don't have everything in my kitchen and I don't want to run out and buy just one ingredient for something. So as I go through, I'll let you know different substitutes that you can use if you don't have the ingredients that I'm mentioning. So the main ingredient of a slaw is cabbage, and today I'm going to work with red cabbage. Red cabbage actually is a great food to have on hand. Cabbage lasts a long time in your refrigerator. Another ingredient in this recipe that lasts a long time in your refrigerator are carrots. So the likelihood of you having them on hand is pretty good. And if not, they'll stay in your refrigerator for a long time until you're ready to do something with them. So what's nice about this recipe is you can cut your slaw by hand, which is a little bit tedious, but you can do it by just sliding through. I just cut a quarter here. I'm going to use about a quarter of this right now. It was a rather large head of red cabbage, but you can cut. Let's see if you can see. I'm going to make a little space here. Make sure you can see me. Just tiny little slivers going across the grain here to make slaw. All right, so that's going to be the slaw. But an easier way to do this is to use your food processor. Now I happen to have one here that has a slicer. You can see this little slice that goes through here. That is adjustable, different heights. You can see I can make it different thicknesses. I like my slaw slender cut, should we say. So I'm gonna put that in. And I need to cut my cabbage so that it will fit in the chute up here. I'm gonna use the chute like this. I'm gonna put everything in right now, as much as I can, in pieces. All right. I'm going to close the top, turn the power on, and just pulse it. All right. I'm gonna do this until I use up the head. I tend not to use that white core just because it's kind of tough. I've heard it said that it's a little bitter. I just don't like the texture of it in my slaw. So I'm just gonna put this all in here now. The nice thing about using red cabbage, aside from it adding a beautiful color, is that the color indicates that it has phytonutrients in it that green cabbage does not have. Anthocyanins, which are very good for us. All right. So let's take a look. So here you see, you have some beautiful cabbage shredded up. I'm gonna put that in my bowl here up front. I hope I have a big enough bowl. I may have to transfer into a bigger bowl. And then the nice thing about this too is now that I have my slaw all done, I want to do my carrots. But the carrots need to be shredded. So this same machine has a shredding blade. I like mine to be coarsely shredded. If you turn it over on the other side, you can do it finely, but I'm going to do a coarse shred. I'm going to put my lid back on. And then what I'm going to do, if you can see here, I am going to cut my carrots about the width of this shoot so that I can lay them sideways so they stay longer, so they're not little short pieces. And again, I'm going to put these all in. Oh, by the way, I peeled these ahead of time. These are carrots that are conventionally, again, because of quarantine, I couldn't get my organic carrots, so these were conventionally grown. So I like to peel those if they're conventionally grown. If they're organic, I usually just scrub them up under the water and use them like that. But I've been being very good about when we buy our vegetables, our produce, putting them immediately into a sink full of water with a little bit of, I actually been putting like maybe a capful of bleach or something in there just to make sure that everything is killed off before I rinse it off thoroughly, wash it off thoroughly, rinse it off, and then let it dry and then put it into the refrigerator to store. All right, with that said, let's pulse these carrots. All right, very good. So, few of these pieces don't get chopped up, but now you can see how our carrots are all shredded. I'm going to add that in too. And look at these beautiful colors. And as I said, color indicates that there's more nutrients in them, which is why you should get a variety of color in your diet, other than Skittles and M&Ms, in your vegetables and fruits and vegetables, okay? So that's the beginning. So we now have the basis of our salad. What we want to do is to make a dressing. You know what? I can get rid of this machine here because we are done with it. Yes, I believe we're done with it. So now we can work on our dressing. And for our dressing, before we get started, one of the nice things about this, I love sesame seeds. Because of that, I do buy sesame seeds a lot. As you can see, I buy them in bulk. I usually go to, if I'm at an Asian market, I always go to get some sesame seeds. And I'm gonna toast up some almonds in this as well. So, in order to do that, I just wanted to show you real quick because some people don't know what to do when you're toasting almonds. What I have here is my skillet. And I pre-measured out about a 1/4 cup of sesame seeds. Hey Kathleen, how are you? So good to see you. And I have about a cup of sliced almonds. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them on like a medium-high heat until they heat up and until I start to smell the aroma, at which point I need to take it off the stovetop immediately because I don't want them to burn. They're gonna go from toasted and smelling great to burnt in a very quick amount of time. All right, so I've got this on here on about a medium-high heat. Let's see if I can turn this way so you can see. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to take a plate out where I can transfer these onto once they are done. And I'm going to have a pot holder ready so that I can take it off and put it onto a cool plate right away. While that's going on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a jar. I love making salad dressings in a jar because all you have to do is shake it up to mix it up. So very quickly, I'm going to add the ingredients. I've measured out 1/4 cup of almond butter. Now, you could use tahini if you have it. This is one of those substitutes that you can make. Depending on what you have, use that nut butter that you have in the house. Just scrape this out a little bit so we don't waste any of it. While I'm doing that, I'm going to then add a vinegar. So the recipe that I have, that I usually use, calls for apple cider vinegar, which I happen to have. And I like to add a little bit of ume plum, which adds a little bit of bitterness, sourness to it. hold that thought. I want to make sure that I'm not burning these seeds here. Just going to give it a stir. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of my apple cider vinegar. And I'm going to add just a splash, about a teaspoon of the ume plum. Now, if you don't have these, the other day when I was doing this, I used a white wine vinegar. Hey Sonia, how are you? So good to see you. So glad you're joining us. Hold on, I can hear these popping now. So I want to be sure that they don't burn. I'm going to turn it off, stir it around a little bit. These are the seeds that we're going to be using for the recipe. And I'm going to just pour them out onto my plate to cool. Can you see it steaming? Yeah, we don't want those to burn. It always smells so good. All right, we have our seeds done. All right, so I now have my nut butter and I have my vinegars in here. I was saying, if you don't have a apple cider vinegar or ume plum, try a white wine vinegar, try white vinegar, or try a rice vinegar, which goes very well with the Asian slaw. All right, I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of tamari. Tamari is the same thing as soy sauce, except it doesn't have wheat in it. And in this case, I'm actually using liquid aminos, which is the same thing as tamari. Just to confuse this, I'm gonna put in about a tablespoon of that. All right. And I chopped up ahead of time some onions. You can use scallions, about 5 scallions. If you want, this recipe is on my webpage under the recipes tab. So if you're looking for all the ingredients and the amounts, just go to my webpage, eveyschweig.com, and look under the recipe tab underneath the salads and salad dressings. It's the first one right in the list. I'm gonna add maybe about a tablespoon of chopped up, finely minced onion into that, all right? That amount that I put in was about, I cut off a little bit of this onion and it was about half of that. So it gives you an idea about how much to use. You can use more, you can use less, depending on how oniony you like to have your dressing. You can always add more in afterwards as well, after you mix it. So I've added that. Now I'm going to add a little bit of sesame oil. I always have a little bit of sesame oil in my refrigerator because I only use a very little bit. I'm gonna use about a teaspoon. It adds a very nice sesame flavor. And I always keep it in the refrigerator. I always keep my seeds in the refrigerator or freezer because I don't want the oils to go rancid. And because I don't use these very often, they tend to sit around. I don't want them to go bad. Keeping them in the refrigerator helps keep them fresh. Very quickly, I now want to add a little bit of ginger. I have a little bit of ginger still sitting in the refrigerator. It's not the freshest of ginger, but it's still looking good. A little trick, how to peel ginger. Take a spoon and just scrape the skin. It will come right off. The fresher the ginger is, the more easily it will slide off. Just a little trick that I use. All right. And you know what? I'm not going to be too particular either about the skin on this because I'm going to chop it up anyway. You can use powdered ginger for this as well, and the recipe gives a substitute for that amount that you use. What I like to do is thinly slice it across those hairy pieces in the ginger, and then I like to finely chop it. So here we go. Pardon me. All right, turn it one way, chop it the other way, keep chopping, until it's minced. Like I said, if you have powdered ginger, easy to use. I would say, let me see if I have it in the recipe, about 1/8 of a teaspoon of powdered ginger. You don't need much. And again, you can add more at the end if you find that you want more flavor with it. Here we are. All right, I think that's good. We're gonna add about 1/4 teaspoon. That might be a little bit more than 1/4 teaspoon, but I like ginger, so. All right, so then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to close this up and give it a good shake. All right, you can see all mixed up. Hey, Kathy, how are you? Good to see you. Good to have you with us. All right, so now this is all mixed up. I'm gonna just give a little taste. Luckily, I'm at home, I can do this. If you decide you want a little bit of sweetness, what you can do is you can add a little bit of honey. I actually have liquid stevia that I can add. If you want to add a little bit of sweetness, add about a teaspoon, not much, to your dressing. I'm just going to give it a little squeeze here. Oops, pardon me. Okay. And then I'm going to give that a mix again. All right, give it a good shake. Hey, Bernd from Germany. So good to see you. Or is it France? France. All right, so now I have all my ingredients ready. All I need to do is assemble them together. All right, I've got my red cabbage and carrots all slawed. I've got my dressing, and I've got my seeds that I toasted. Oh gosh, they smell good. I love sesame, so whenever I can add sesame into things, I do. All right, I'm gonna add in all those nuts. Almonds are very good for protein, so we're adding that fiber. There's a ton of fiber in this dish, which is so important to us. All right, and I'm just going to add in our dressing. I'm thinking the amount of dressing that I made is probably just appropriate for this amount. All right, and I'm just gonna improvise here with my spatulas. I probably should have had a bigger bowl. What do you think? Let's see if I can move these things out of the way. How's that? That good? All right. I'm gonna just toss this up. You know what? Let's go grab a bigger bowl. Okay. Make it easier to toss. Why make it hard on ourselves, right? All right, there we go. Much better. All right. And there you have it, guys. We have a gorgeous Asian slaw. By the way, this keeps really well in the refrigerator. It makes a good amount, so you won't have to be running to the store for ingredients. It makes a great side salad for any meal. If you have leftover chicken, oh my gosh, just chop that up and put that in with this, and it makes a wonderful, wonderful dish. Now, if you want it a little bit lighter, you can add in like a green cabbage, like a Napa cabbage. Or if you don't have a different kind of cabbage, romaine lettuce will work as well. I usually chop it thinly the way we shredded up the cabbage. So here you have it. So if you like the idea of having these foods on hand, comfort foods that are easy to make, I have a program that's coming up and it's free. So if you're interested and would like to join me doing it, it's a 5-day comfort food for mind and body. And the reason I call it that is because not only do I give you a recipe, I'm working with my colleague, Mary Ellen Zung, who is a colleague of mine and also a health coach. And we are working on this. You get 2 to 3 recipes a day that are simple, using a lot of ingredients that you probably already have at home. If you would like to join us, it starts April 27th, but I have an ingredient list that I can send you right away. Just send me through IM or email. Send me your email so that I can send out the ingredient list to you so you can get things that you need. Hopefully most of those things are already in your kitchen, as I said. And meanwhile, you can try this recipe as well. And let me know, please, if you try it and if you enjoy it. So stay safe, everybody. Stay well. I hope to see you joining the 5-day program. Again, just email me and say, I want to join the Comfort Food Program. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.